So you're thinking of buying land to build your dream home on? Well, today I'm discussing things you need to know and the best tips and tricks for buying land in the North Georgia mountains, and we're getting started right now. Building a house and choosing the land you want to put it on can be super exciting, but it can also be super stressful. I've compiled a list of things for you to think about and research that will help make this process easier for you. If this is your first time here, I'm Trish Rodriguez with Higher Elevations Real Estate, local real estate agent with Palmer House Properties. If you want to know all about the North Georgia mountains, places to see, things to do, where to live, I do all of that here. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you can stay up to date with everything going on up here. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the video, let me give you a little disclaimer. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not going to encompass everything. So you'll always want to make sure to consult with a professional in the specific field of each topic mentioned. The first step in the land buying process is determining how much land you want and what you're going to be doing with it. Are you just going to be building a house and you want just enough space between you and your neighbor so that you're not looking in their window? Or are you looking to hunt on your property or have some sort of sprawling garden? Well, the answers to those questions are going to determine whether or not you want 1 to 2 acres or 5+ acres. And this question goes hand in hand with the next one. Do you want to be in a neighborhood or not? Some neighborhoods come with an HOA and can include amenities like a pool, tennis court, golf, equestrian, things of that nature. Some won't have an HOA, but they may have covenants, which can still be good. With covenants, at least you can be assured that there are certain criteria that your neighbor has to follow when they are building their house, and that you won't be subjected to a trailer being next door. Because let's be honest, if you're not in a neighborhood or you don't have HOA or covenants, that up here in the mountains is exactly what you could be facing. There are many places that we have driven around where we see a trailer, and then a few yards down, we see a very nice house. So that is definitely something that you want to take into consideration. Once you've decided how much land you want and where you want it, whether you want it to be in a neighborhood or not, now you can start the search. But as you are searching and looking at land, you will want to keep some things in mind when it comes to the cost of developing the land. There are many important steps to make sure that land is buildable. The last thing that you want to do is spend thousands of dollars on a piece of land that ends up being worthless. Things that will determine the ultimate cost for developing the land that you want to build that dream house on are things like electric, septic, internet, driveway, grading. If you end up in a neighborhood or an already established street, then you have a better chance of already having access to the utilities that you need: electric, water, internet. If you're not in a neighborhood, then you'll need to find out what it's going to cost to get electric ran, and whether or not you're going to need a water source, if you have water source available, or if you're going to have to dig a well. If a well is necessary, then you will need to be prepared to spend an unknown amount of money, as these costs vary widely depending on how deep and how wide the well has to be. The cost can range from a few $1,000s upwards of $20,000. But again, you're going to need to consult with a professional on this one. One of the next steps in making sure that the land is buildable is having a percolation or perk test done. This test will determine the absorption rate of water in the soil in preparation of a septic. Again, I'm not an expert, so I'm not really sure what all of this really means, but I do know one thing. The land has to pass the perk test. If it does not pass, you cannot build a house on it. So you absolutely want to make sure that that is something that is done and is done quickly, so that you can be sure that you are buying a good piece of land. This is a question that you can ask the seller. You can see if the seller has recently, key point, recently, if the seller has recently done a perk test on the property, because these do expire. If they have, then you can request to see that and make sure that it has passed the perk test. If it has not been done, then you will definitely want to make sure that when you're writing the contract for the land, that you make it contingent upon the land passing the perk test. You don't want to get to the end of your due diligence or the end of buying this piece of property only to find out that it does not pass the perk test and you cannot build on it. You want to make sure that your investment is protected, and writing the contract with it being contingent upon passing the perk test is one way to ensure that your investment is protected. Something like this is exactly why it's a good idea to partner with a local real estate agent like myself, because we can help guide you through this process. And of course, if you're looking to buy land in the North Georgia mountains and you're not already working with an agent, I would love to help you. So you just got to give me a call. Now, before you go calling those local authorities to come out with a quickness and do your perk test on your property while you're in your due diligence, first, you'll want to make sure that you spend a good amount of time on the property at various times throughout the day. This will give you a real lay of the land. It will let you know where the sun rises and sets on the property, where the best view is, how much coverage from the sun or not you have during the day. It gets hot during these Georgia summer months, so having some coverage from the trees could be a very good thing. And obviously you will want to maximize your viewing pleasure on the property, whether you want to be able to see the sunrise on the front porch in the morning, or if you prefer to see the sunset on the back porch in the evening. Whatever your preference is, these are some things that you will want to figure out while you're on the property, because that will help determine where you're going to put the house and how you want to orient the house. And this is not only important for when you're going to actually build the house, but it is also very important during the perk test being done, because when the local authorities come out, they are going to test the property to make sure that it can have a septic tank and where the placement of the septic tank is going to be located. So you obviously do not want to put the septic tank on the property where you want the house to be placed. So you will want to figure all of that out ahead of time, and even meet the local authorities there if you're able to, so that you can talk with them in person and discuss different options if the idea that you originally have in mind isn't going to work. The last thing that you want to do is decide exactly where you want your dream house to be built, only to be told that's not where you can place it. Let's face it, our houses are our most expensive investment that we will ever make in our lifetimes. And you want to make sure it's right. This is your dream home. So, as I mentioned previously, something else that you will want to do is make sure to meet the local authority, the septic person. Usually it's the environmental health department that will come out to issue those septic permits, but you'll want to meet them there. That way you have the opportunity to discuss exactly where you want the house to be placed and what good areas might be for the septic to be placed. And if what you have in mind isn't going to work, then y'all can go ahead and discuss then and there what are some additional options that you can look into. You will also want to make sure that you get the septic for the eventual number of bedrooms that you want to have. For example, we bought our house from someone else. When the septic permit was done in 2003, when the house was built, it was done for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. When we bought it, it was still a 2-bedroom, 2-bath on an unfinished basement, but we knew that we wanted to have an additional bedroom and an additional bathroom. Well, that meant that we had to go to the environmental health department and do a new septic permit and request that the drain line fields be extended. That was the only way that we could actually get a 3-bedroom. This could ultimately affect the resale value of your house, or at the very least, the amount of time that your house is going to be on the market. It's worth the extra minor cost to go ahead and have the septic permitted, for and based and built on how many bedrooms you eventually want to have. The other things to think about when you are considering the cost of developing the land is going to be the grading and the driveway. So I have clients that would love to be at the tip-top side of a mountain because they would love to be able to watch the storms as they roll in, which sounds pretty cool. But I will say that there is going to be additional costs involved with that, because if you're at the tip top of a mountain, you're going to have extra foundation support for the house to sit on. You will need to consider the amount of grading that will have to take place in order for you to be able to put the house there at all and to have the driveway there. Now, before we wrap this up, let's circle back to the utilities for just a minute. Specifically, the internet. Internet in the mountains can be questionable depending on where you are. Some areas can offer great and fast fiber optic, and some areas can offer barely anything at all. So that's definitely something that you will want to check into prior to deciding on the piece of land that you want. You know, of course, it's going to depend on your needs. If you're working from home, or if you like to do all of your TV streaming like we do, then you're definitely going to want a higher speed internet. If you're just doing some light internet browsing, then you may be okay with a smaller internet connection. But either way, before you fall in love with those magical mountain views, make sure you check out the internet connection. Now, I've covered all sorts of things for you to think about when you're getting ready to buy land in the North Georgia mountains. And I'm sure I didn't cover it all. I'm sure there's still more to think about. Drop in the comments below if you have any helpful information for people that are looking to buy land. And of course, if you're looking to buy here in the North Georgia mountains, I would love to help you. So you gotta give me a call, send me a text, write me an email, send me a carrier pigeon, however you wanna do it to get in touch with me. I'm here for you. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.